It's no surprise that the upcoming presidential election might have you speculating about what's ahead. And those unanswered thoughts can quickly spiral, causing fear and uncertainty to swirl through your mind. So if you've been considering buying or selling a home this year, you're probably curious about what the election might mean for the local Austin housing market and whether or not it's a good time to make your move. There's some good news that might surprise you. Typically, presidential elections have only had a small, very temporary impact on the housing market. But your questions are definitely worth exploring, so you don't have to pause, or you can decide to not pause or move forward in the meantime while all the election stuff is going on. In today's video, I'm going to take a quick look at decades of data that shows exactly what's happened to home sales, prices, and mortgage rates in previous presidential election cycles, so you can make an informed decision about home ownership or whether you're going to sell your house or not. So let's look at home sales first. In the month leading up to a presidential election from October to November, there's typically a slight slowdown in home sales. Some consumers will simply wait it out before they make their purchase decision. However, it's important to know that this slowdown is small and temporary. Historically, home sales bounce right back and continue to rise the following year. I will say it's common even in non-election years for that period of October to November, even December, to be on the slower side, typically with home sales and just the market, taking a break from all the holiday stuff. In fact, data from the Department of Housing and Urban Development and the National Association of Realtors shows after 9 of the last 11 presidential cycles, home sales went up the year after the election. And it's been happening consistently like that since the early 1990s. So let's look at home prices. Do prices come down during election years? Typically not. An election year doesn't alter the price trend that is already happening in your market. Home prices generally rise over time, as we know that typically we have appreciation in Austin between 5 and 8%, which is why home ownership has always been a great way to have that generational wealth. And this happens regardless of any of an election cycle. So based on what history shows, you can expect the current pricing trend in your local market to likely continue, barring, of course, any unusual market or economic circumstances. The latest data from NAR reveals that after 7 of the 8 last presidential elections, home prices increased the following year. The one outlier, of course, was 2008 to 2009, which was during the height of that housing market crash. And that was certainly not a typical year. Today's market, however, is much more resilient, and now, especially in Austin, we're having the stabilization effect. While prices are moderating nationally, they aren't on an overall decline. And remember, especially in Austin, the real estate and appreciation and current market analysis is very specific to the area that you either live or want to live, which is why it's very important to team up with a real estate agent that really looks at the data and can show you kind of the big picture. Now, let's talk about finally everyone's current biggest concern, mortgage rates. Since, of course, they typically have the biggest impact on your monthly payment if you're financing a home, which most people are. Looking at the last 11 presidential election years, data from Freddie Mac shows mortgage rates decreased from July to November in 8 out of those 11. And this year, we've already started to see that happening. Most economists and mortgage experts also forecast rates will ease slightly throughout the rest of 2024, as it's already happened. The rumor, of course, is next month when the Fed meets that we'll see another rate drop. If that happens, and all signs right now indicate that it should and will, this year will continue to follow the trend of declining rates. So if you're looking to buy a home in the coming months, this could be great news for your overall purchasing power. So what's the biggest takeaway? While presidential elections do have some impact on the housing market, the effects are usually minimal. Historically, the housing market doesn't tend to look very different in presidential election years compared to just other normal years. For the most part, buyers and sellers, elections don't have a major impact on your plans. So that's good news and should give you some peace of mind. While it's natural to feel that uncertainty during an election year, history shows the housing market remains strong and resilient. And this means you don't have to pause your plans in the meantime. For help navigating the Austin housing market that changes what seems to be every month, during this election cycle or beyond, reach out to me in the comments or click the link in the description for my contact info. I'm Nick Garcia with All City Real Estate. I'm a top producing realtor in Austin. I've been in the area for 13 years, and I take my duties as a real estate agent very seriously. And of course, as you can see with all of my content, I enjoy educating my sellers and my buyers along the way. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button, subscribe for more content just like this. Thank you.